All right, let's talk about Tua and the Miami Dolphins, who had a disappointing game against, admittedly, a very good defense, but still, there's no getting around it. This was not the Dolphins' best game. So what happened? How much of it was Texans' defense? How much of it was the Dolphins not being able to perform well enough? Well, let's get into it. First, let's talk about this play because it's kind of your classic Dolphins play, right? You're trying to have a receiver get into a gap in coverage more over the middle. This is what the Dolphins do better than any team in football, it seems like, when they're hitting it, right? Here, you see that they run to play action. Texans, for one thing, not fooled by this. Play this very well. You see, though, Jalen Waddle, there's a bit of a window. I mean, it's not a huge window, but at the same time, let's just be honest, we've seen the Dolphins hit on these windows before, right? Usually they're very good at this. So I think this is kind of a great example of what went wrong in this game. First, Houston making the window a little tighter than you would have expected, and Tua not being able to put this one right on the money, and then it ends up incomplete. I mean, that's one where, again, it was a difficult play, but that's just essentially what the Houston was able to do was raise the degree of difficulty for the Dolphins, and the Dolphins not being able to, rise to the occasion. Also, this play, a good example where it's going to be a 3rd down and 3. This is going to be a man coverage concept. You see a route going more over the middle, which is one that Tua is going to look towards. Watch how when Tua takes a snap, first there's pressure. That's something that did happen in this game. Has to get outside the pocket. Okay, that doesn't help, but still keeps his eyes downfield, is off balance, and as you see, this throw is just off. And again, high degree of difficulty play, right? You're playing a good defense, but it essentially was, it feels like this Dolphins team is a basketball team that can make threes all day if they're playing against a bad defense, but if these are contested, now they're missing them, right? It's kind of a similar example. Also, this play I didn't think this was a weird one. I'm not saying this happened a ton, but this is a play I think worth talking about. So it's a 3rd down and 5. It is zone coverage right here, and you see the concept on the screen. These two routes could get into a gap in coverage past the 1st down marker. Tua is going to take the snap and look in that direction, and honestly, both of these routes are open. I mean, this is a 1st down. Let's move the sticks. Let's keep things going. I don't really know why Tua didn't throw it there. In fact, as of right now, he's not even looking in that direction. He's looking somewhere else. So I don't know why he got off this read, but he instead kind of stays back and ultimately fumbles the football, and the Houston Texans are able to recover. So turnovers were an issue in this game. We will get into it, but that's definitely, that's a problem. It just is, and it hurt them right there. Kind of a weird play there. And also, we got to give credit to D'Amico Ryans and the X's and O's here. This was a great play, I thought. It's one of those plays that when it happens, it made me think, why don't teams do this more? Because it's kind of brilliant, where you have a receiver, Tyreek Hill, going over the middle. Again, Miami so deadly with these over-the-middle routes. It feels like when they're at their best, these over-the-middle routes are always getting open, especially with a play action. As you see, this time the play action, again, doesn't really do a lot, but what does happen is a Houston player falls. So you see Tyreek Hill, he's circled in yellow. Why is Tua throwing this? There's a Houston player right in front. Well, that player is the safety who Tua thought was staying deep, because that's usually how you run this play. But because of that, usually that over the middle section is open. Houston just said, let's have a safety essentially come in and try and rob this play right here, which is what he's doing. So it's really just a clever concept to kind of say, okay, this is how Miami usually beats this coverage. Let's just change it up a little bit. It's similar to what Brian Flores and Bill Belichick did to Jared Goff in the Rams Super Bowl, Patriots-Rams. As you see, this one does get intercepted. So again, Tua has to read that. He has to notice it. But with Miami, they do things so quickly that, his whole thing is he processes plays quickly. Well, sometimes you process it wrong, and then that results in the interception. It was nearly a pick six, and the only good thing was that there was such little time left on the clock. Houston had to settle for a field goal, but it easily could have cost them 7 if there was just a little bit more time on the clock. And there's one other really big thing we have to talk about, which is, the Tyreek Hill situation, which is obviously Tyreek Hill, one of the best to ever do it, still an incredible wide receiver. Derek Stingley kind of shut him down in this game. Derek Stingley really was winning his battles, and when you expect Hill to not just be someone who wins, but can dominate, that changes things. So like this play, for example, you have Hill, it's just a quick route on 2nd down and 3, just trying to get you to 1st down, right? That's all you're trying to do here. Get the ball in Tyreek Hill's hands, good things can happen, right? Except when this play begins, you see Stingley. I mean, Stingley's a great athlete. He's not afraid of this. You see him moving in, trying to disrupt this play. So while the ball is coming out, I mean, honestly, this is probably, this has a better chance of being an interception than it does a completion. As you see here, the throw was also kind of off, might have been for the best right there, ends up incomplete. I mean, yeah, that's just what was happening. Was, again, if you want to blame Hill or you want to credit Stingley, I'll let you do whatever you want, but Stingley was winning. This play, it's going to be a man coverage concept. Again, Hill is going up one-on-one here. 3rd down and 5 in the red zone. So big play here when you're down 8 points. If you can hit on this play, you could tie the game potentially in the fourth quarter. Doesn't get much bigger than that. And also, I want to just shout out the Texans for doing the right thing. If longtime fans of this channel know how annoyed I get when a number 1 receiver lines up in the slot and then teams treat them like a slot receiver. You have Hill in the slot. The Texans are like, I don't care. Okay, Derek Stingley's still on you. That's smart. As you see, Hill is going to get the outside release, tries to get open, and Stingley's just all over this route. I mean, there is no separation. Again, Tua is just saying, it's Tyreek Hill. Let me throw it in his direction. However, it gets intercepted. So again, you can blame Tua if you want, but that is, I mean, again, it's really good coverage by Stingley. And at the end of the day, you need Tyreek Hill to win these matchups. That's what you pay him for. That's why you brought him in here, is to win in these situations, and he just didn't. This one being another example. It's a 8-point game right here. So 1 minute and 44 seconds left, no timeouts. I mean, hey, if you can get here and tie the game, go into overtime and win it, no one's talking about any of the issues. Everyone's saying, hey, a win is a win, and you're keeping kind of the season alive, really. They still have an outside chance at the playoffs, but really, they kind of needed this one. But this coverage, I mean, again, this is the kind of coverage we've seen basically every team in the league over the past, 7 years say, we're just not running this coverage against Tyreek Hill because no one can beat him one-on-one with no safety help. It's just not possible. Carlton Davis for Tampa Bay is a good corner. He gave up 200 yards in 1 quarter against Tyreek Hill because Tampa Bay tried to play this coverage. After that, team said never again. So here, Tua takes the snap, he reads the coverage, the safety's staying over the middle, Tyreek Hill one-on-one, all right, let's throw this down the field. Who knows, maybe Hill can make a move and get all the way into the end zone on this play. Well, as you see, Derek Stingley is going to somehow get his head turned around, and he intercepts that one as well. Derek Stingley, covering Tyreek Hill, had as many catches as Tyreek Hill had in this game. Tyreek Hill had 2 catches, Stingley had 2 picks, and covered him really well on a lot of other plays. Like I said, could have even had another one. So that was a huge factor, and especially when Jalen Waddle got injured, I mean, it just became so difficult for Miami to do anything. So, yeah, as a whole, I mean, if Miami is going to make the playoffs, they have to go 3-0. There's no chance they get in if they don't do that, and they have to play better. I mean, Tyreek Hill has to start winning his one-on-ones more, and and Tua can't be making these mistakes. It's really that simple. So, people have talked about the Dolphins against good teams. It is kind of a thing, right? If you're a good team that can kind of take away the top options, it just becomes much more difficult. And, we've seen Tua make mistakes in these moments, which is unfortunate, but that's what's happened. I don't know exactly why it's the case that they seem to have such a disparity when it comes to playing good teams versus bad teams, but it is very much a real thing at this point. So, yeah, disappointing game from the Dolphins. That's what I think. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from ya, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.